Competition between the big bad boys, and you really do have the cream of the crop in the Astrodome, the best of the multi-engine 7,200-pound tractors trying to win what has over the years become one of the most prestigious trophies in all of pulling, the championship trophy from the Houston Astrodome. And first up is one of the world's best out of Rockford, Ohio, John Heilman and Ohio Gold. He's got it out of here. It's a full pull for John Heilman and Ohio Gold on the replay. Heilman, the veteran puller who also pulls a two-wheel drive truck, so he knows his way up and down the tracks. A veteran knows how to get it out the back door as well, as he showed you right there. John Heilman with the full pull. Robert Elliott is next up out of Mayfield, Kentucky. Here's the Fancy Farmer. Right hand is on the throttle as he takes the slack out. Now you'll see him hammer that throttle down. He'll ease it out to get it rolling and then hit her hard. There, he's going to put it down and go. How do you like that? Two pullers, and we're assured of a pull-off as Robert Elliott takes the Fancy Farmer all the way down the track in the Houston Astrodome. Once again, you can see that right hand pushing that throttle for everything she's worth, and it's enough as it's a full pull for Robert Elliott. We'll see him later in the pull-off. Well, we're not done yet. Still some of the best in the business to come up, like this guy, the odds-on favorite to win a world championship again, the Irish Challenger, the Walsh brothers team out of Wisconsin. Here's Dave Walsh. Can you believe it? We're 3 for 3, a third consecutive full pull. The Irish Challenger out of Huston, Wisconsin. Boy, look at Dave Walsh in firm control and not hardly any air at all under those front wheels. A picture-perfect run for the Challenger. Now listen, you could definitely hear the difference in the engines. So take a look. It's a big difference visually as well. Twin Allison aircraft engines provide the power to the new and improved Rambunctious. So Milton Bergman, the Bergmans bring out the Rambunctious tractors. Milton Bergman and new and improved Rambunctious out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. Not quite enough lift out of those Allison aircraft engines. As you can see, the new and improved Rambunctious working its way down the track, but coming up just a little bit short of that full pull mark. And so the new and improved Rambunctious has the dubious distinction of being our first competitor not to make the pull-off. 268.2, a good pull nonetheless. Boy, here is one of the top competitors in the sport. You talk about horsepower. This guy knows how to put it to the wheels. It's John Powell and the Powell pulling team out of Apex, North Carolina. And I'm going to tell you, this guy is always a threat for a full pull. Let's see if he can do it in the dome. Turn left at the end of the straightaway and take another lap. Look at him go. John Powell and the Powell pulling team clearly and easily with a full pull. This North Carolina Tar Heel just takes her right on out. Look at that run. A full pull, so John Powell becomes our fourth to make the pull-off. What a pull-off we're going to have in a little bit. Next up is the Outlaw. This is Russell DeForest ready to go in the Outlaw. Hooked up with that big tractor. And DeForest is ready to pull it on out. Brings up the RPMs, and the Outlaw is underway. Oh, look at the smoke. There's some problems on the Outlaw. He's not going to make it, and indeed, that's it. The Outlaw detonates an engine, apparently, and there's fluid pouring onto the track as well. Problems for Russell DeForest. There you can see it. His hopes in the Astrodome clearly go up in smoke. The distance is 211.04. That'll go in the book for Russell DeForest. Well, here's Rambunctious 2. We saw the other Allison Aircraft-powered Rambunctious tractor a moment ago. Well, here we have Rambunctious 2. This is Dwayne Bergman, again from Fort Recovery, Ohio. You got to take it out of here to make the pull-off. We already have 4 who have qualified. Well, I guess it's just not a day to be powered by the aircraft engines because neither one has worked well enough here in the Astrodome to get into the pull-off, as Rambunctious 2 and Dwayne Bergman comes up a little bit short with a distance of 241.47. Well, one of the hometown favorites is Texas Flash out of Cat Springs, Texas. Here's Don Nelson. Takes the slack out. You see the green lights to the left of your screen. They go on the pulling sled to indicate that everything is ready. Then they'll give Nelson a green track, which he now has, and it's his discretion when to take off. Gets it past the 250 mark, but you got to go past 300 feet to make the pull-off, and the Texas Flash is going to come up just a tad short. Again on the replay, it was a decent pull for Don Nelson, but decent not good enough here in the Astrodome. As I'll tell you, the cream of the crop is here, and they're showing you why, with 4 already qualified for the pull-off. Well, this is our final competitor before we go to the pull-off, and he certainly is a threat to make it a 5-way pull-off. Jim Brockman and In-Laws and Outlaws ready to go. Again, the right hand is on the throttle as he takes the slack out, and In-Laws and Outlaws trying to take it out of here with his 4-engine setup. Looky here, it's going to be a 5-way pull-off as Jim Brockman takes the Kodiak In-Laws and Outlaws right out of here. Boy, the replay, it is just a picture-perfect run for Jim Brockman, and he had that 300-foot mark covered with plenty to spare. And so there were 5 as Dave Walsh fills up for the pull-off. John Heilman in Ohio Gold, Robert Elliott in the Fancy Farmer, Dave Walsh in the Irish Challenger, John Powell and Powell Pulling, and Jim Brockman in the Kodiak In-Laws and Outlaws go to the pull-off. In the 6th place spot, Milton Bergman, the new and improved Rambunctious, followed by Texas Flash, Rambunctious 2, and the Outlaw. It is time for the final 5 to come back and settle this thing in the Houston Astrodome as the fans get ready for the tractor pull-off, 7,200-pound tractors. Multi-engine setup. You can kind of do whatever you want as long as you stay within that 7,200 pounds. 4 and 5 engine combinations are the most likely to be seen in this competition as John Heilman comes to the line, and you can see how he has decided to stack his engines, the 2 toward the front, then as you look toward the back, 2 toward the side, and then that 5th engine right up towards the top. Heilman's 5-engine combination, the Ohio Gold tractor from Rockford, Ohio. He is hooked to the sled. Now he'll take out the slack, and we'll be underway. It's the pull-off from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. All the records now are thrown out. They start over. Whoever can pull that heavier sled the furthest is going to get the win. That sled is a ton heavier, or more than a ton heavier, and I'm going to tell you what. John Heilman has flat given him something to shoot at. Past the 250-foot mark, the official distance will be 250.64. Ohio Gold says, come on and try and beat me, boys. John Heilman's the leader as Robert Elliott now comes up. 4-engine combination for the Fancy Farmer. You can see 1 on each side and then 2 stacked toward the front of the Fancy Farmer from Mayfield, Kentucky. Slack is out. The track belongs to the Fancy Farmer. Close, but I don't think he's going to get there. He's short of the 250-foot mark, and we know Ohio Gold got past that. Again, a good run for the Fancy Farmer. A little bounce there in the middle may have cost him a little time as he had to come down and put those front wheels down. And when you touch down, it costs you some distance. 2:43.43 for Robert Elliott, the Fancy Farmer. A good pull, but right now it's just second. Here's Dave Walsh and the Irish Challenger, the Wisconsin tractor that certainly rates as one of the favorites to win every week out. This guy is as tough as they come. His brother Dan is one of the premier two-wheel drive truck pullers in the country. Good. It looks like an engine might have gone away from the Irish Challenger right toward the end of that run. He clearly did not get to the 250 mark. And indeed, it looks like an engine going away for the Irish Challenger cost Dave Walsh a chance to win here at the Huston Astrodome. The distance of 236.38 is only third best right now in the pull-off. Well, here's the guy that I know John Heilman is kind of looking at and knowing that this guy's got a chance to beat him, because John Powell and the Powell pulling machine out of Apex, North Carolina, of late has been super tough. Let's see if he can do it right here. Foot mark, we have a new leader, and it's John Powell and Powell Pulling out of Apex, North Carolina. Picture perfect run, and the 250-foot mark was where John Heilman stopped. Man, he blew by it. 271.43, and John Powell has the lead with one to go, but it is one that Powell knows could certainly knock him off. Jim Brockman's In-Laws and Outlaws. The final puller in the pull-off, and he's got to go a long way to win this baby. 271.43 for John Powell. That's not going to be enough. He comes up just a little short of the 250 mark as Brockman comes down. Just didn't quite have enough. Didn't see anything wrong with the pull. Just not quite enough to get past that 250 mark and challenge the pull of John Powell. So that's the way they finish after the 248.54 of Brockman at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The victory goes to John Powell, the Powell pulling team out of Apex, North Carolina, walking away as the victors in the dome. There you see him, John Powell the winner, and he comes away with the victory impressively by 21 feet over John Heilman's Ohio Gold. Brockman in the Kodiak In-Laws and Outlaws was third. Fancy Farmer and Robert Elliott and Dave Walsh's Irish Challenger rounded it out.